Is this the phone that's going to shake up the smartphone market from its lethargy of turning out barely differentiated glass slabs? That's what the hype train surrounding the launch from the first phone from OnePlus co-founders startup called Nothing would have you believe. Having moved on past my first impressions of the device, which I'd encourage you to read, to spending more than a couple of weeks daily driving the Nothing Phone 1, which included 2 software updates as well, I've got some thoughts on the device. It's a new phone from a newish brand that's gotten a lot of interest. Is the hype justified? I'm Tushar Kanwar and here's my full 1-month review of the Nothing Phone 1. But first, here's a lowdown on pricing and availability. The Nothing Phone 1 sells on Flipkart in 2 variants. In an edgy white and this very fetching black variant that I have on hand. If you haven't read my first impressions of the device when it first launched, head on over at Indulge-Express and read that first, where I've covered the basics of the glyph LED light strips and a quick look at the design. Side note, unboxing the phone from its slim tearaway packaging was an exercise in minimalism. Just the bare essentials in the box, nothing else, not even a charger. For folks who like to keep their phone boxes as pristine keepsakes, you're out of luck with the Nothing Phone 1. Let's tackle the big question. A couple of weeks down, how does the naked, lit up design hold up? Not too bad honestly, though the novelty of the sound and light show has given way to an appreciation of how well built this device is on the daily. Not to mention how impressive it continues to remain that nothing actually pulled off making the insides of a phone look aesthetic. It's pretty ugly with most phones, trust me. Yet I can't manage to shake off the feeling every now and then that I'm holding a much pricier iPhone 13, particularly when it's in its transparent case. And I maintain that's a good thing for nothing to pull off. It's still rare enough to see one in the wild, so the party trick with the lights and sound and the Phone 1's flaunt value will continue for some time. And if you're the sort who prefers their phone face down instead of using the rather useful always on display, the glyph interface can be worked into your workflow by lighting up to notify you when specific contacts are calling, what the charging status is, or in a pinch, work as a portable ring light. The 6.55-inch Full HD Plus OLED display is fluid and fun to use with its 120Hz refresh rate and 240Hz touch sampling rate. And the attention to detail in having uniform bezels on all sides just furthers the iPhone inspiration. It's a tad oversaturated as a panel in its default color profile, but what troubles me more often is its less than ideal brightness levels of 500 nits, which is fine for the dreary Bangalore weather we've been having but not when the sun comes out. Watching HDR10 Plus content on the Phone 1 is good, with loud stereo speakers that offer a somewhat disbalanced output. The haptics are leagues above its price class, and the sound, light and vibration show that goes off if you use the glyphs to the hilt are the biggest motivator to keep the phone face down to see a call or a notification come in. Now, while the build and design are decidedly premium, the internals aim for a more modest goal. Hardware that's capable enough that you have a phone that's usable to satisfy most everyday users, but not something that would appeal to gamers or performance enthusiasts. Setup is one of the quickest around, with Nothing packing in none of those third-party apps and bloatware that's so easily found in this price segment. With 2 updates down, the initial software hiccups one saw at launch were addressed, and the Qualcomm Snapdragon 778G Plus chip proved to be more than adequate for most tasks, including gaming on higher graphics settings in games like Call of Duty Mobile on the 12GB, 256GB storage variant that I tested. Of course, you should go in with reasonable expectations. This is not a gaming phone, and the Phone 1 is lacking that outright raw performance that you may have come to expect from some of the competition in this price segment. It's particularly noticeable when you're multitasking between heavy apps or when the phone processes the photo immediately after the shot. Love the lack of bloatware, but I think there is some way for the Nothing Phone 1 to further optimize the software experience. And if the pace of software updates after launch is any indicator, one shouldn't have to wait too long. Oh, and another thing. Some may find the Nothing OS 1.1.2 running on top of Android 12 a little bit too restrained and basic, particularly if you've come from another competing brand's phone. Nothing promises 3 years of Android updates and 4 years of bi-monthly security updates, so that's a plus. Battery life is reasonably impressive, although I did see better battery figures from the 4500 mAh battery at launch than I've been seeing off late with the 1.1.2 update, which quite honestly has bricked the battery life hard. Even so, it does manage to last out the day with about 10 to 15% left in the tank, but you may be reaching for a charger sooner rather than later if you subject it to the heavy cocktail of taking photos, toying around with the glyph lights and map navigation on 4G as I did on many days. Fast charging is present, but at 33 watts it's not really all that fast, particularly if you look around at the 150 watt speed demons around. It takes over an hour to charge, and there isn't a charger in the box, but there is some sort of redemption by way of wireless charging. Not only is the Nothing Phone 1 rare in its segment for offering wireless charging, it also supports charging your Qi-enabled wireless charging and accessories such as the Air One earbuds off the rear panel, lighting up the glyphs to indicate a charge is in progress. If the story so far has been characterized by restraint, the camera is more of the same. In a market filled with garbage macro and monochrome cameras just to pad up the marketing datasheet, the Phone 1 has a refreshingly restrained take on the camera setup. Two 50 megapixel cameras, a Sony IMX766 for the primary and a Samsung JN1 for the ultra-wide, plus a 16 megapixel Sony IMX471 for the selfie camera up front. The camera had me surprised, turning out good shots in daylight with accurate colors and a good amount of detail in the shots. Even the high-resolution ultra-wide delights with its detail levels and doubles as a decent macro camera as well. And in a good sign, the color science inconsistencies that I noticed between the primary and the ultra-wide shooters at launch have gone away with the recent software updates. Photos shot in low light are pleasant and very Instagram usable, as they retain the feeling of a night shot without artificially brightening up the shot as a lot of other phones do. There's some nothing touches to the experience, which is a nice touch. A blinking red recording indicator on the rear to indicate you're recording a video, and the ability to use glyph LED lights as a soft fill light for close-ups of objects. The only real letdown is a selfie camera, which consistently blows away the highlights if you have a bright light source behind you. If you're an ex or current OnePlus fan who wanted the Nothing Phone 1 to be all that your favorite brand isn't any longer, it's not. It's not the performance beast that every brand tries to push out, but it packs in oodles of refinement and restraint in design and software that allow it to stand out in an insanely competitive segment. And it's this extra spit and polish that allows it to justify its price, but only to those who care about these elements over pure performance. We hope you enjoyed our month-long review of the Nothing Phone 1. And if you like this video, please consider sharing and subscribing to our channel. For more such tech videos, keep coming back to Indulge Express.